day when the world is celebrating India's gift, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Rajya Sabha MP Subhash Chandra had something special for the people of New York. Just a few minutes back, the SL Group inaugurated Yo1. It's America's biggest wellness center dedicated to yoga. Spread across 1,300 acres in the Catskills Mountains, Yo1 is a state-of-the-art wellness retreat inspired by the beauty and tranquility of its surroundings. The Indian Prime Minister attended the grand opening via video conferencing, and this is what he had to say.
The world has embraced yoga, and glimpses of this can be seen in the manner in which International Day of Yoga has been marked every year.
Rajya Sabha MP Subhash Chandra addressed dignitaries and lawmakers present on the occasion. The wellness center will create 500 jobs in the Catskills area. The SL Group is helping Americans stop and take a break from their hectic lives. The group's mantra is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. The world is one family, and it's taking India's values of holistic living to the world with the new initiative called Yo1. Take a look.
India's parliamentarian, India's pride, a philanthropist, a humanist. India's media mogul, Subhash Chandra. He is the chairman of SL Group. His philosophy guides India's biggest and oldest media network, the Z Group. Subhash Chandra has a new feather in his cap, with the New York State Assembly and Senate honoring him for his contribution to the New York State. His friends Sant Singh Chatwal and Bobby Kumar Kaluti by his side.
I'm standing here today at the Assembly House of New York State. The Assembly is facilitating Yo1 Center and me, and more than me, I think Prime Minister of India, because on the International Day of Yoga, we are inaugurating, or he is inaugurating, a biggest wellness center in New York, which will practice yoga, Ayurveda, nature cure and everything, and will teach a new way of living to the people of America.
And why not? Subhash Chandra, after all, is creating jobs in the US with his new state-of-the-art wellness center.
More than jobs, it will teach the new way of living and living happy.
That's really good.
And healthy.
Well, this is certainly a very, very special occasion, and what I like most about it is it's going to create jobs too, and for everybody. And I want to thank them for what they're doing, and it's one of those things that we do once in a while, and it's going to be in Monticello. And God bless you for all of that you guys have done.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is dedicating the Monticello Center to the people of the United States. But investment and jobs is just one aspect of Subhash Chandra's work. His new project, Yo1, will show Americans a new way of living. Located around 1,400 acres of lakes and forests in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York, Yo1 is a haven for health and wellness. It's a sanctuary of tranquility.
I wanted to build a place that allowed people to heal, to reconnect with nature, to regain their whole health.
You know, there's not a day that goes by that we're not on the floor of the State Assembly or the State Senate, and we don't hear about how so many jobs are leaving New York State and so many people are leaving New York State. And in the course of those conversations, we also hear about how sick people are and how they don't take care of themselves. This, and I want to thank both of you for taking this opportunity and making this investment in Monticello to bring one of the largest wellness centers to New York State.
Yo1 Wellness Center has a state-of-the-art infrastructure. Built in a span of 5 years, Ayurveda, naturopathy, physiotherapy, and a lot more facilities will be provided here, and a team of dedicated professionals will bring to fruition Subhash Chandra's vision.
Yoga it's a very natural way of exercising your body. And at the gym, it's very mechanical, you know, but yoga is a more natural thing. You're more connected with yourself, and you listen to your body, and you see what your body is asking you to do.
Subhash Chandra's vision transformed the media landscape in India, and his new gift to America on the International Day of Yoga will revive ancient Indian arts like yoga and transform lives of many people in the days and years ahead.
As we said, this is a center that's going to create at least 500 jobs immediately. The Prime Minister threw it open to the public in New York just a few minutes back. Listen into what he had to say.
Yoga can become a binding force for the world. I'm happy that you have chosen the International Day of Yoga for the inauguration of this Nature Cure Center. I hope that this center shall strive to strongly integrate elements of yoga in all its programs and initiatives.
I would like to congratulate the whole community or the humanity on this International Day of Yoga. Today, there are thousands and thousands of places in more than 110 countries. Yoga is being practiced today as we speak.
It's fitting that the center was thrown open to the people of America on the International Day of Yoga. Earlier today, the Indian Prime Minister observed it with 50,000 people in the North Indian hill city of Dehradun. He's called yoga India's gift to the world, a practice, a science and a way of life for generations, mastered by yogis thousands of years ago, long before the first religion or belief systems were born. Yoga is believed to have originated in the Indus Valley civilization dating back to 2700 BC. A number of seals and fossil remains of the civilization suggest the presence of yoga in ancient India. It also finds a mention in the Vedas and Upanishads. The Buddhist and Jain traditions remember the lotus pose of Buddha and Mahavir. The epics of Mahabharata and Ramayana are replete with couplets that talk about yoga. Agastya, a revered Vedic sage who travelled across the Indian subcontinent, is credited with crafting this culture around a core yogic way of life. Another sage, Maharishi Patanjali, systematized and codified the then existing yogic practices. He was behind Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Centuries later, India has begun taking baby steps in reclaiming this traditional form of knowledge. Even Prime Minister Modi made a global pitch for the Indian practice.
The world has embraced yoga, and glimpses of this can be seen in the manner in which International Day of Yoga has been marked every year. In fact, Yoga Day has become one of the biggest mass movements in the quest for good health and well-being.
Yoga originated in India. It is identified with India. Can someone else copyright and sell it is the question. You'd be surprised that an attempt was made more than a decade back. It sent shockwaves among yoga enthusiasts the world over. An Indian origin guru who migrated to the US got copyright for 26 yoga poses and 2 breathing exercises. The man was Bikram Chaudhary. He was just one of the people trying to lay claims to an ancient Indian practice. After all, it is booming business. A report in The Guardian claims that yoga is now a $16 billion enterprise in the United States alone. The world over, that figure touches $80 billion. That's the kind of money people make by teaching yoga and selling accessories. According to a 2016 Yoga Journal report, 36.7 million people practice yoga in the US alone. Almost 300 others are avid yoga practitioners across the world. 300 million, I mean. There has been a steady rise in its popularity. 2 years ago, yoga was one of the most Googled words in the United Kingdom. With the rise in popularity came in all sorts of attempts to own it. The likes of Bikram Chaudhry flooded the American authorities with requests to copyright various yoga and yoga-related poses. He claims to have created what he calls the Bikram Yoga, which is basically yoga in a steam room. The then Indian government then set up a team of Hindu gurus and 200 scientists to identify all ancient yoga positions, or asanas as we call them. The idea was to register each asana and to stop patent pirates from stealing India's traditional knowledge. So far, around 1,500 asanas have been added to a digital library. This is to prevent so-called gurus in the United States and Europe patenting established poses as their own. India now has a traditional knowledge digital library. A traditional knowledge digital library. It is a unit of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, or the CSIR, and this falls under the Indian Ministry of Science and Technology. There is a proper system in place now. This database has been shared with the concerned departments in Europe, the United States, Canada, Germany, Australia, Japan and Chile under a non-disclosure pact. It is not just yoga that faces the risk of misappropriation. Many Indian practices and objects have been wrongly claimed by others in the past. So India has learned from the mistakes. The government of India, remember, had a bitter experience trying to revoke a patent issued to an MNC for neem and turmeric. It had to be revoked at the cost of $1 million in legal expenses. Having swallowed that bitter pill, the database has more than 2.93 lakh traditional Indian medicines. But when it comes to yoga, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And on World Yoga Day, we ask, can India copyright this gift it wants to give the world? If yoga is turning into an industry, shouldn't India and Indians benefit from it the most? And when we say that yoga is turning into an industry, we do so with good reason. Scores of self-avowed experts and gurus have modified and tweaked this ancient Indian practice. They brand, they market, they sell their own versions of yoga. We've compiled the wackiest ones for you.
Grow taller on your next inhale.
This studio is like any other venue where yoga is practiced.
If you'd like to bend the left leg.
It's a calm, serene and quiet room. Except that it isn't being used for simple unadulterated meditation.
Engage the core around your right side body.
All the participants in this room in Denver in the United States are high on marijuana.
On your exhale, bring them.
It definitely adds a different aspect to it that I had never experienced before.
Weed yoga is a trend that is picking up in the United States and has already found a set of devoted followers.
For me, internally, lets me release in my head, feels good in my body. Yeah, it's just a really good combination for me.
While the US is mixing pot with poses, Britain is combining beer with balance. For these beer yoga enthusiasts in uptown London, drinks and meditation go hand in hand.
I think that a lot of people who never done yoga before, they might want to come and try this out.
The idea apparently is that the alcohol allows yogis to let themselves go and relax properly.
It was very challenging because I guess I'm not used to having a beverage in my hand whilst practicing yoga.
But also, these sessions are not just calming and relaxing, but also heavy on the pocket. An hour of beer yoga will set you back by around 12 to 15 pounds. And why just humans? Combine the popularity of yoga with the booming market for pets, and you have Doga. The goal of this yoga class is not just to release your own chakra, but for your dog to find its inner peace as well.
And we massage behind the ears first, so it's a little bit here.
The curious concept of Doga, popular in the United States, is now making inroads in other nations as well.
I'm used to teaching adults yoga classes anyway, and I do mother-baby classes as well, like exercise for mother and babies and yoga for mother and babies as well. So I thought, well, maybe it can't be that different.
Inhale back halfway, and then on the exhale, walk your hands.
It's not just the pooches. California is witnessing a unique craze for yoga with goats. Practitioners stretch out on yoga mats, struggling to maintain complex poses, all this while baby balancing goats on their backs.
And take another inhale up.
And then they try and eat your hair ties and your yoga mat during class. So yeah, that does have some challenges that you wouldn't normally have during yoga, but it adds character.
And if you thought that it is just the West that is trying to co-opt yoga and brand it as its own, you wouldn't be entirely correct. The geishas in Kyoto are trying to save an ancient tradition by mixing their practice with yoga. The outcome is called geisha yoga.
Japanese people don't really know the world of the geisha. They don't really know what our role is and the world we inhabit.
They're trying to change the perception of their art by branding it as a discipline that's an age-old one and one that needs rigorous training. Yoga has been around for centuries, but today the holistic practice is seeing an explosion thanks to innovation and a hunger for healthy living. The result? Out-of-the-box spin-offs that make up a new and lucrative niche. The question is, why isn't the birthplace of it all at the forefront of this boom? Bureau Report, WION.
Well, India is trying to make up for lost time. The United Nations celebrating the International Day of Yoga at the insistence of Prime Minister Modi that started 4 years back was a strong start in the right direction. Today, thousands of people across the world are bending over backwards, literally, to mark Yoga Day.